is awesome. That was awesome.
You guys are awesome.
No, you're awesome.
No, you are awesome.
Sir, you are awesome. Seriously.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I am your host, Kev, and this is the show where we talk to awesome people about awesome things. And, if you're listening to this, you already know the story of why we're delayed, but I'm recording these intros out of order, just the way I kind of edited episodes this time around. I skipped around. And so you're listening to this. We've been back for like 2 or 3 weeks already, back on our weekly schedule for the season. And as you know from a previous episode, I have stepped off a curb, step type thing, rolled my ankle, and ruptured my ankle. First time I'm telling you guys, but not the first time you guys are listening to it. That's some timey-wimey stuff, baby. I just watched Doctor Who. That's why I'm doing this timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, you know? Anyway... So just to kind of reiterate the reason that these episodes, after the debut episode of season 2, we took 2 weeks off, was because I shortly after the release of the episode, I rolled my ankle and messed it all up. I will be seeing some more doctors this week to see what the next step in the recovery process is. Anyway, something that the first 5 episodes or so of Everything is Awesome Season 2 have in common is like a throwback, right? So Mike and I, for 2, technically 3 episodes, have talked about the past. And partially that 3rd episode, we also talk about like 2024 and what we're looking forward to. So, but the majority of our conversation was talking about 2023 and what we really enjoyed and what we thought went well in the entertainment industry and video games and movies and TV and stuff. And even for ourselves, like what like worked well for us. And then, Jonesy, that conversation was with one of the, I guess not technically original Happy Hour Steel Tip guys, even though he joined in like week 3 or something officially. So, he's as original as it gets next to me in podcasting for my podcasting career, quote unquote. So that was kind of a nice throwback trip down memory lane. And this episode here is featuring another former co-host during the still the shock jock era of Happy Hour and my podcasting career, but it's another former co-host, Michelle, who hosted Happy Hour 2.0 during the 2000 and probably 2010, 2011 era of podcasting, and where we had, I think it was Mike shared some co-hosting duties, C. Rob, Tom, and Aaron, and it was 5 to 6 of us sitting around chatting for 2 hours, and still when we did that very segmented type of show versus a hour-long podcast. Anyway, so this was a great conversation I had with a friend of mine that I haven't connected with in quite some time. And that's kind of the theme. That's just the theme for the opening of season 2. We're working on booking other guests that are out of the zone of hey, what are you doing? Let's do a podcast. But that's kind of the point of this, right? The point of this show is always to bring on friends or new friends or soon to be friends and talk about awesome things. And that's what we did here today. I really enjoyed it. Despite rolling an ankle, and delaying this episode for 2 weeks, I'm really excited that I'm finally sitting down to record this intro and get going with it. So without further ado, here is my conversation with dear friend Michelle, and on the other end, I'll be back to wrap things up. So stay tuned right here on Everything is Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Give me a sound check.
Sound check.
Okay. Didn't we do this 15 years ago? Sound
and
checks?
I did it wrong.
Did you?
I don't know.
No, yeah, you did. You just said sound check.
Am I doing it wrong now?
I want you to say a whole sentence.
I am saying a whole sentence.
Okay, that was quite literal, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yep.
All right, and when you laugh like that, just pull the mic away a little bit.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Because it's going to... I'm a professional podcaster now. I don't get paid for it, but I'm a professional podcaster now.
You say that.
Yes, I am. Well, technically, part of my business is podcasting.
Okay.
I don't currently get paid for it, but it's part of the business. I am working on a studio space with a buddy of mine, with Jonesy. That's what if he ever comes up with this conversation again.
Like in Dreamcatcher? Jonesy?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
But I thought Flyers also. But and I don't know. I only know that exists because there's a current beer from a craft brewer that is a Flyers beer that says Jonesy on it. I know very little about hockey.
I was just going to say, you know more than I do then, apparently, about anything Flyers related.
I know
except
Jonesy?
for the fact that they're doing well, except that their one guy just got the axe for something pretty questionable.
Oh, yeah. And I had no idea because, again... So, like, at work, at my day job, there's one of our fiscal people. He's like, now that the Eagles have tanked and you're not, like, supporting them anymore. And I was like, first of all, I always
supporting them in my heart.
Always supporting them. Not just because I'm rooting for the Chiefs doesn't mean I'm not supporting the Eagles.
Yeah, and I love the brotherly love with the Kelseys, and we will talk about that.
Yes.
But it does still kind of rub me the wrong way seeing Jason wearing Kansas City stuff.
That's okay. I'm okay.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Really?
100%. Yeah, I know that. See, and it's the funny thing because a lot of people in this area are anti-Chiefs fans because of last year's Super Bowl, and I get that. But the thing I try to tell people, especially that are younger than us, I'm like, Andy Reid. Like,
Andy
that's
Reid.
all I have to say.
Yeah.
And like Travis Kelce is a very likable person.
Very.
I'm not like Mahomes is a great quarterback, but he's not likable. Like, I don't hate him, but he's not Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady, I was a very he had a punchable face.
He had a very punchable face. Mahomes is like, you might want to flick his ear or something, but like, he's a decent dude. You can at least like not hate him. You don't have to like him.
I don't want to have a beer with him. I don't want to ever talk to him, really.
No, not really.
So I'm a big I support the Chiefs because of Andy Reid. Like, I have the last 2 Super Bowls they won under Reid. I have that. Those
Except the last one.
Huh?
Except the last one.
No, I bought last year's hat.
No, I mean the last Super Bowl that the Eagles won. That was with.
Oh. Yeah, no. I'm saying I bought the Chiefs hat. Like, okay. I'm a big I'm gonna buy the Eagles hat, and like or Phillies, depending on what the team sport is. But like, I'll buy whatever if they make it to the postseason. I'll buy their however far they get into that postseason championship hat.
After the Super Bowl tomorrow, it's all about clear water, mind you.
Oh well, you know what? I'm wearing my Union hoodie.
Oh well, that's a whole nother
and
thing.
home opener is February 24th.
I was just listening to something about the soccer coming in 2026. Is it?
World Cup.
Yeah, in Jersey.
The MetLife Stadium, the stadium that's going to ruin every single ankle and knee for every single play. The highest
Go
paid,
Jersey.
the highest paid soccer players in the world, or not, maybe not. They're just worth the most.
Okay.
Those knees and those ankles, and it's gonna be bad because that they have. I think that injured was it AJ Brown? It was either AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. That last game of the season, they 1 hour. I think it was AJ Brown, and it was like, oh god, did the turf get him?
Turf toe
the turf
thing.
got him.
That's what I was thinking too. Oh geez, well.
But yeah, it's going to be bad for soccer players. But Subaru Park, where Union play, is like you're almost in Delaware.
I was going to say Delco, right?
No,
Isn't
I think it's Chester County.
It's Chester, that's
but it's
right.
literally like you can't. I think you go any further, you're in Delaware. And
Hi,
it's
I'm in Delaware.
But I've only been there once for the Army Navy soccer game, and like. that was fun. That was
I didn't know they had soccer games.
Yeah, they do. They do. I found out this year because I got the tickets for free. They were just giving them away basically because it was a very not packed stadium. I imagine Army Navy football games are probably packed.
Absolutely. Go Navy.
But honestly, I have no desire to go see an Army Navy football game.
Well, you're not a football fan.
I am a football fan.
You're an Eagles fan. And you're an Andy Reid fan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm not a...
Let's make that clear.
No. Wait. I am a football fan. I'm just not a football fan of anything below the NFL.
That's fair. That is fair.
And there's a reason for that. I'm from the Northeast.
Yeah. That's...
Yeah, like if you
that's
go,
what we care about. If you go down south, you've got your college.
And high
get
school.
into that.
And high school.
When
I used to work for Radiant Systems, which was like a point of sale installation, their home base was out of Alpharetta. And
is that how you say it?
Alpharetta? Yeah.
I said Alfreda.
No, it's
like Alfredo.
No, it's Alpharetta.
Alfreda. That's how I said it.
It's Alpharetta. Now, maybe not.
Okay, you know what? That could just be the Philly in you adding syllables where they don't belong.
No.
Because we do tend to do that.
Yeah, but no, I went down there and did work. I mean, I didn't do work. I did my paperwork down there.
And that's how they said it.
I mean, this is a long time ago. I'm going to say yes, Alpha. I mean, it just looks phonetically correct, Alpharetta.
Okay. All right.
I thought it was a 2-bit town, so I'm shocked that you even know it.
The state that Reno is in, how do you say that?
Nevada?
Good. If you say Nevada, we were going to have
what did I say?
Hands. You said Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah, that's how that's
Nevada.
proper.
How do people say it?
Nevada.
I'm sure I had this conversation years ago on this podcast because I used to date someone from Nevada.
I was born in Nevada. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did not know that.
Reno, Nevada.
Were you there long?
2 years.
Oh, okay. So you don't have no memories.
Then went to Southern California for like a year and then ended up in somehow Levittown, Pennsylvania. So
the greatest city in the world. And by the time this releases, special election's over in District 140. So congratulations. I hope you went out there and voted. And that must mean that because I'm the only one running for the mayor of Levittown.
Congratulations.
I have won mayor of Levittown. So mayoroflevittown.com for all your voting needs. So I don't know. I don't think I've really posted about this much on the internet.
I am new to this information.
I jokingly said I'm going to buy the mayor. I bought mayoroflevittown.com and levittownmayor.com because they were available.
Is it even a thing?
No.
There isn't one.
No, there is no. In Tullytown, there's a mayor, and I think that's the only mayor.
There should be one
in that area. There should be. I think the issue is, it's like Levittown is like 3 different townships.
Oh, right.
So whereas like Tullytown is Tullytown.
But I will say this to you: there is a mayor of Hatboro, and Hatboro has 2 townships.
Oh, interesting.
And actually, the old mayor of Hatboro was the one that married me back before I was unmarried. But
no, Levittown does not have a mayor, and there's a reason for that. I think maybe it's not incorporated. There's
got to be a reason, but that reason no more.
Listen, because I am the mayor of Levittown. I was the only one running, and I'm now the mayor of Levittown. But I bought those domains as a joke, and then I was gonna like just do my normal bullshit and have like a jokey thing with it, and then I was like, oh, this is like a great opportunity to like have this site be a call to action for about voting and stuff.
This could be how you would get your statue.
I don't need a statue. I want a Jason Kelsey statue.
That's what I mean.
Oh yeah. In Levittown? In Levittown?
Why not? It would be a tourist attraction. You're bringing money into your city.
No one wants to come to Levittown. No.
Mayor. How dare you? Mayor.
No, well, I felt like when I was setting this site up and like setting all this stuff, I couldn't just like make it look like it was real. Like I felt like that was like, oh, I could maybe get in trouble for that. So I had like a blurb about being a satirical website. I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well like say, oh, here's the things that really matter. And like, not that I'm like the biggest like
proponent of an agenda, if you will.
Right. But like, I do like, I believe in voting. I think voting matters, and I think voting matters the most like in these primaries and in these local elections that don't happen.
We're from the Rock the Vote generation, so I mean, it was the thing for a while.
And it's I wish like this new generation. One year, I think it was 2016. They had Jay and Silent Bob running commercials about voting, and Jay and Silent Bob's not for the younger generation at all.
No,
it's barely for my generation.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing about being a Kevin Smith fan. And hey, you know what, folks? We did it. We got Kevin Smith on the podcast. That's so. All right, Michelle, you don't
An Easter egg.
No,
you just dropped one.
No. A tangent. It's.
Here we go.
You are familiar with the shock jock era of podcasting, an era that, like, while it was so fun to do and be part of, I am wildly ashamed of.
I think we all are.
Wildly ashamed of those years that we did those podcasts.
I'm sorry. Fart Man existed at one point in time.
Oh yeah, I mean, not that Howard Stern was the inspiration, but like Howard Stern was like at one point, like I was listening to him on my way to school when I was in the car with my dad. So like I was listening to him far too early.
And then you had Opie and Anthony.
And then Kid. I was a Kid Chris guy. I don't know if do you remember?
I
Kid
remember
Chris?
that. Yeah.
So I was a big Kid Chris guy. He was like Philly's Stern, even though he came from Sacramento and Texas and stuff, but. He was like Philly Stern. He eventually got the day shift on at Free FM, and that era of YSP RIP was like the era that inspired at least podcasting for me, and we took cues from. So there is a lot of stuff that I'm not super proud of.
Yeah, actually, that was something I was thinking about when we were talking about doing this. Was like some of the things that even we did that we would be quote unquote canceled for now.
Right. Well, I mean, not Man Crush. That song is fantastic. Edit point to insert that right now.
Well, all right. I don't know what I should and shouldn't say, but
I mean, I'll just edit it out.
There were things.
Don't worry. I'm going to make this sound like I'm a fucking superhero.
That sounds about right. Because you cursed entirely too many times.
No, cursing is fine.
We're fine with that.
Yeah, cursing is fine. I mean, and that's not something I shy away from at all. Like, I openly admit, like, 10, 15, 20 years ago, I was a terrible human being. It is, and that's the thing, like, I'm a big Marvel guy, and James Gunn, who directed a couple of those movies, I mean, he got fired by Disney for stuff that he did in the past.
Right.
And they eventually rehired him because they, things are of a time.
Yep.
And quite honestly, sometimes you are a douchebag. James Gunn, probably a douchebag when he was
more or less.
I think he was in his 30s.
But
so.
who the hell wasn't in their 20s, first of all?
Right. I mean,
because all you care about is your damn self and just having a good time.
And you can't even think about it in your 20s, right? Because when you're in your 30s,
it's all relative,
right?
At that point,
because if you're in the 90s or even the early aughts, your 20s, 30s, like you're just going with the flow.
And you didn't think that it's going to come back to haunt you.
Right.
Not for a second. We are at least in the generation where there wasn't as much proof of all the debauchery and the ridiculousness that was our life. We
are very much of the generation where, like 10 years ago, I was saying some dumb shit on Twitter.
Right.
Or dumb shit on Facebook or dumb shit on...
But 10 years ago was our 30s. So we are at least lucky that our early 20s weren't documented. Because
no, but that's not true at all, because my early 20s, not so much, but my mid-20s, and that's what I was meaning. I forget that I'm almost 40. So 15 years ago...
You're welcome.
That's fine. I don't care. I want to live forever. I don't plan on dying. I'll freeze my shit. I want to find a way to live.
Mr. Walt Disney, folks.
Yeah, I'm going to be immortal. Like that's, I'll upload myself to a computer. I'll find a way. Life finds a way. Kevin will find a way.
He will find a way.
But it's yeah. I mean, in my mid-20s, like I was on the internet doing stupid shit. I mean, I was on the internet doing this. Saying
that's
shit.
True. And there was also MySpace. Which,
right. And I mean, I don't, my account, like those things don't exist anymore at all.
They don't. You know what? I kind of wish they did.
Yeah, I every now and then I went to here's two things that I wish still existed. It was MySpace and AIM.
Oh my gosh, yes, because we were so angsty and prolific with our away messages.
Honestly, my biggest thing with AIM is I just want to go back and read what the fuck I said back then, because I remember very specifically the way post high school post Arby's, like we reconnected was through AIM. And I was like, oh, I want to go find that shit and see what I was saying then to reconnect with people.
Oh my gosh, even the stuff that's on Facebook from back then is kind of funny. Like, I think I do have I almost said instant message, DM,
Yeah, I don't know.
sure, whatever, of like when you first contacted me on Facebook in 2000 or like mid 2000s.
Right. Yeah. I don't see. I'm very now. I clear a lot of shit out now. Like the only thing I need to do is find a way to clear out. Like on Twitter, I have like a whole lot of stuff that I'm like, oh, I was a bad person 15 years ago.
There
I was
goes
on
your
Twitter.
political career.
No, first of all, again, no one else is running, so I am. I am the mayor of Levittown.
Dang.
And
If I still lived in Levittown,
what's it? Yeah,
we'd be going head to head right now.
I plan on again
Living forever.
This means living forever. But aside from that, and this means nothing because we're past February 13th already. But the on the day of the special election, which in Levittown, because it's District 140, is having a special election because I don't know. Do you remember John Galloway? I feel like he's been in charge of that district forever.
No.
He. Do you remember Wisławski?
Yeah, Jan Wisławski. She was
she retired.
Judge right there on the corner
in
Falls Road.
Yeah, she retired.
Yeah, she was awesome. Actually, I was at a party one time and it got busted up and I was drinking underage and I decided to plead not guilty. And when I showed up, so did about like 10 other people from the party that were not guilty, quote unquote.
Right.
And so we're all sitting in there and her words are, and I quote, she's like, so let me get this straight. All y'all were at this party where there was alcohol, but none of y'all were drinking. She goes, what am I going to do with you little angels? And she's like, well, if I fine you, it really just punishes your parents because they're going to be the ones that have to pay for it.
Right.
And, and it was all this stuff. She basically gave us like a disorderly conduct and don't ever come back in my courtroom again.
And that being said, Everything is Awesome does not condone underage drinking. Drink responsibly, 21 and older. Just got to get that out of here. But yeah, so anyway, she retired.
Such a bad influence.
Who, you?
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
You were, you're a bad influence. That's a fair statement.
All right, we were talking about the bike race, and I'm pretty sure.
Okay, hold on.
That was all.
I wasn't done my conversation.
Me, so.
No, it wasn't. No. So anyway, Jan retired. John's in, and now there's an open seat that will actually sway Pennsylvania left or right. And my position as mayor does not affect that, but
What does your position as mayor
my position
affect?
has a nice website telling you why you should go vote. At mayorlevittown.com. And it's not just for people in Pennsylvania or in PA District 140. The dates are all Pennsylvania centric, but I believe that it's they try to sell you on trickle down. Like that's how you're going to like solve the world's problems, but it's not like no one cares about Biden doesn't care about our community. And I'm not against Biden. I'm a left. People that
we're not
listen to
for
the
or
show,
against.
there could be someone better, but there could be someone a whole lot worse.
Agreed.
As previously discussed on this show, I'm sure. But anyway, it doesn't trickle down, right? So you have to build up. You have to worry about your local community, and that's kind of like the point of mayorlevittown.com. Outside of saying that, like, I'm the mayor, is
It's cracking me up.
is to say that like you gotta go vote.
You got to see Kev's face right now.
Anyway, so Bike Race Sunday was a thing. For those that don't know what Bike Race Sunday is, I don't know if it's even a thing anymore.
I don't know that it's as big as it used to be.
No,
but
yeah, and maybe it is, but we're not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
And I do know people that live on that street still. I forget the
Partake.
Street name. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if they partake because again, like they're probably in their 50s now, versus being in their 30s then. But like I don't know anyone. I think people still live there. My uncle moved away before he passed away, so I have no real super connections there except for maybe one of his friends.
Is that where we went in the morning?
Well, we started there.
Okay. right.
And then I believe one of his neighbors were having mimosas.
Mimosas, that I do remember.
That's where I fell in love with mimosas. Like mimosas are my favorite
Oh, there's nothing
drink.
better.
In the daytime drink.
Yeah.
And then so all right, Bake Race Sunday. God, here's another tangent. But, not that we were on a topic, but Bike Race Sunday, for those that don't know, is Commerce Bank or TD Bank or whatever at the time sponsored it, and it was just a bike race through Maniac.
Maniac, yep.
And the bottom of my uncle's street where he lived was Main Street. And that's right where the cars would bottom out. So if you got there first thing, you could watch the cars bottom out until they got used to what they had to do, because the cars would follow the bikers to make sure they were fine. But outside of the race, I spent. Did you only go to one Bike Race Sunday with me?
That was it.
So I went to a couple, and so I would spend part of my day at the corner watching them bottom out, drinking SoCo and whatever with folks. And we would but that particular year that you were there, we went exploring.
Oh, yes, we did.
I remember playing, I don't know if it was flip cup, beer pong, or a combination of both.
I think it was a combination.
In some random
people's
yards.
Yep.
And got very toasty. And so here's how I remember it.
Okay.
I remember at some point leaving. I don't know why. I guess it was just the end of the day. But my memory is we go to the not the gas station. We go to the train station, and I drag you up the stairs or onto the train, and then you're bleeding.
Yeah.
From the knee.
Yes.
The knee, not a major artery.
No. My knees were.
I still feel bad about it. But and then we get home somehow, and then that's all I remember.
And by home, we were not even at either one of our homes. We went to a friend's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we stayed at a friend's house that night.
I don't remember this. I literally
Did we have the same experience, or did we have two very
different
different
Did we go to the
experiences?
Levittown train station?
We did, but we had to get a ride, and we went to a friend's house that night.
Where did we go?
We went to Tom and Aaron's.
Was I not living with them at the time?
No, it was when they were still at the other apartment.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and so my very, very small recollection of that day does start out the same way that you just explained it. However, I have these nagging little memories of being at a gas station, and
I'm going to call timeout for 1 second. You got to keep this. I'm putting the microphone down. You got to keep this story going. And no dead air. Go.
Okay. So I know that we stopped at a gas station, and I don't know why. I believe because I smoked back then, it was probably get a pack of cigarettes. But I also remember that I was already bleeding, because I swear there was a police officer that had asked us if we needed some sort of assistance, because, I mean, the two of us looked pathetic in the moment. I'm almost 100% sure of that, because we were, as you say, toasty. I think we were roasted, toasted, and burnt to a crisp at that point. And I was bleeding, and that just came into my brain recently. So something like that happened.
I don't remember the gas station nor the cops.
Not cops like we were in trouble, except for the fact that we looked like we needed help.
I want to reiterate, we were of legal drinking age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I mean, I think it was 25. I was 25, I think.
I was let's see. I'm trying to.
It had to be
go
around
through my
that.
terrible history.
So
in my
then you would
mid-20s.
be 23, 24.
No, I think I was almost 25 too. No, maybe 24. I was 24 or 25. Because we are. Oh no, we're never the same age.
No, but you're about a year younger than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were probably 24. I was 25.
Headphones aren't that big.
We probably should have been a little more responsible, but
I
don't know, because man. It was still a good time.
We weren't driving.
We were not driving. We made sure of that.
So okay, now okay. But I
He
don't
just
think you were
got a
bleeding.
little-
I don't think you were bleeding here.
So we just looked that pathetic.
I feel like you were bleeding at the train station.
I do remember a lot of
Like
bleeding.
the train station was where the bleeding
Didn't
occurred.
I have one on my shoulder too? Because I
I mean, maybe I remember the knee, right?
or maybe I hit it. I don't know, man. I was. You did feel bad.
I do. I felt very bad.
You felt really bad because you did kind of drag me. You were trying.
We were trying to get on the train in time.
Okay, that's what it was. You wanted to catch the train, and I was not moving fast enough, so
Right.
you just grabbed me.
Yeah, I'm go. I'm the Flash.
And then I was bleeding in a flash. So
Yeah. Do references? I'm saying this because like I feel like the Michelle of 15 years ago would not quite get the Flash reference. But I'm sitting here staring at Harry Potter stuff, so I know like as you matured and procreated. That
Yes. My daughter is a huge Harry Potter.
So are you
fan.
like? Has nerd culture entered your world?
Slightly?
Because
Yes.
if I had to say like. When we were in high school / working at Arby's, like I was nerd, you were the cool girl.
Yeah.
That's like the way I remember that.
I was a nerdy cool girl, I guess.
How
but
are you nerdy? Let's go through your
just because I wasn't into the things that you were into.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I still enjoyed being around people like that.
Right. Okay.
So you were more my people than someone who was into fashion or something like that, because that wasn't my thing either. But and you've brought up Arby's twice.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Because this is an important thing I want to talk about. The nerdy thing is I don't like. I say that, and Will Wheaton. Do you know who Will Wheaton is?
Absolutely, he was a child crush of mine because my dad was a huge Trekkie.
Wow. I was not expecting you to say you knew Will Wheaton is.
Absolutely. Gosh, I loved him on Star Trek Next Generation, man. Oh my gosh.
Did you watch Star Trek? I'm not a Star Trek
all of
person.
it. I
Really?
I know all the episodes. I do.
Just the Next Generation?
Yeah. Well, my dad watched the original. I couldn't get into it because
Did you watch any of the movies?
I have, and of course, my favorite one is going to be the one that everyone hates.
I don't know what.
The one with the whales.
4?
Could be.
Anyway,
I don't know. I just know it's the one with the whales.
Anyway, I know how to talk a lot, so you can go get your drink. But anyway, Will Wheaton said this wonderful thing at a convention where a little girl was like upset because like people were calling her nerdy or geeky or whatever. And he has this, like, it was a speech that made me like, I wish Will Wheaton was my dad, because he goes on to say that, like, everyone is a nerd about something or geeky about something. You know, some people, their thing is football, and they're really, really good at knowing things about football and knowing all the stats. And that is a nerdy thing. You're a nerd about football.
Good point.
So, like, to me, being a nerd is definitely, I mean, I shied away from it for the longest time.
Being a nerd is cool.
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
though.
Well,
it wasn't.
no, I drive home. I want to say since I started this show in 2016, because I think Force Awakens was 2015.
Oh boy.
There was a commercial at some point that was about Star Wars or about going to the movies, and it was this high school dude that wanted to ask this girl out to go to the movies, and he built an R2D2 unit. Shoved the note or movie tickets into it and like remote controlled it to her house, and she went. She said yes, and I look at that
How
moment.
could you not with that amount of effort?
Because in the 90s you would get shoved in a locker.
True.
That's like, I look at that moment in history as like a defining moment of when nerds officially took over the world.
Yeah.
Like it's, I mean, I'm sure in high school and in school there's still cliques and shit that but like everyone watches Star Wars now. Like everyone watches the Marvel movies now. So like where is the line of
There
like,
really isn't, and I will tell you because my daughter has shown me like there really aren't the same cliques. There used to be. There are still some, but I mean, it being a nerd is cool all of a sudden.
So. Yeah. I mean,
and to the, I think you said something about, what did you just say about Will Wheaton and dad?
Yeah.
Okay. So just because everyone used to say that my dad looked like Jonathan Frakes.
I
Do you remember what he looks like?
I think I met him once or twice.
Like they could,
but like now that you
twins.
say that, like, kind of.
Yeah.
And I know, but it also helps that I have very little memory of what Frakes looks like as well, because I'm not a Trekkie. Like, I'm not a Star Trek person. Like, that's.
I'm a kind of closeted. I mean, Patrick Stewart is one of my favorite people.
Patrick Stewart, Sir Pat Stew, he's awesome. But I'm
One of my favorite people of all time.
To me, he's Professor X.
Okay, but to me, he's the guy that read A Christmas Carol and did all the voices, and I would listen to it every Christmas Eve, and I put it on all the time because my dad did it on tape back in the 90s, because that's how we roll.
No, I didn't even know he did anything like that.
Yeah.
I literally am a Patrick Stewart fan because of X-Men. And, like, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else. Well, I mean, I've seen a couple episodes of The Next Generation, and, like, there was I've never seen more than a handful of The Next Generation episodes, but there's the movie where him and William Shatner are in the same movie.
Epic.
And Generations, maybe, I think it's called.
Yes.
And that's the movie the only Star Trek movie I've seen, aside from the newer ones with Chris Pine, which, again, no memory of, because I'm a Star Wars guy. Like, I'm
on the Trek side.
Yeah, but I also believe there is no Star Wars versus Trek thing. Like,
I guess not, but I just prefer it.
See, I'm the opposite. Like, to me, I don't know. I prefer, and I even prefer, like,
it's nostalgia for me, more or less.
Right.
I
That's
remember
the thing.
sitting with my dad and watching it as it was coming on. Like, you couldn't watch it unless you sat down in the moment and watched it on TV at the time that it was on TV. And we would do that together. And then right after that was Tour of Duty, which was a complete opposite show, but it had to do with, because he watched, like, MASH and, like, all that stuff. So, like, I watched all these old shows with my dad.
I was a Nick at Night kid. Like, I watched.
Oh, I was too.
I watched a lot of Dick Van Dyke, a lot of Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, I still watch Twilight Zone on the regular basis.
I was never a Twilight guy.
The Snick, do you remember that?
Snick, yes.
When that came out, so I remember, because I didn't know what that meant.
What was?
And the very first airing of that happened to be on my dad and his first wife's wedding night. And I was mad because I was going to miss it. Because it was...
Well, that was like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. And Roundhouse.
I don't remember.
Which was a precursor to the other... All That.
That was like a Saturday Night Live type show? All That was amazing.
Yeah.
There's a reason Kenan Thompson is still on Saturday Night
relevant.
Live. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Cal Mitchell's getting there again.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw him on... I think he was on an episode of After Midnight, that new late night show after Colbert's show.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, After Midnight. Now, so I'm of two minds because I love, if it's not obvious, I love talk shows. And
brand new information.
And
shocked.
After Colbert used to be, I'm not a big James Corden fan, but was the late show with James Corden.
Right.
I preferred Craig Ferguson.
Correct.
But
I like that.
So instead of replacing a new host for that, they did After Midnight, which is like a rebooted version of Midnight, which was on Comedy Central, and it's basically a game show hosted by a comedian, and you have other comedians on, and the points mean nothing.
Hilarity ensues.
Yeah. And now the original one was hosted by Chris Hardwick. He's a dick.
Oh gosh, we're not going down that rabbit hole, are we?
Do you know why he's a dick?
Oh my God, here we go.
Do you know?
I know that you have this passion inside of you about this, and I don't recall why, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I'm pretty sure it happened after like our era of happy hour. So what happened was. What happened? Do you know who Chris Hardwick is?
Yes, this is why I was about to say it is such an obscure person to have such a hatred for.
Well, first of all, he is a horrible human being. One of his ex partners came out with a story that paints him in a terrible picture. Well, of course, he got away with it. Like so
he was Me Too'd.
No, because he still has work. He still has jobs.
No.
He should have been, because I believe the victim, but whatever. And I just know from my personal experience that, like, oh yeah, that story sounds like legit. Like, I don't think she's making it up. And my personal experience isn't anything as horrific as that. But he hosted a show called Nerdist, and he also did The Talking Dead after The Walking Dead.
Right.
Well, I used to do a show called The Walking Dead Zomcast, where we also talked about the show.
Here it is.
And
Here it is.
I said, hey, they did a show in Philly at the Troc, I believe.
R.I.P.
As a person who actually has done things at the Troc, I was like, oh, this is like a cool, like maybe I can do something here.
Right.
And I emailed his people and I was like, hey, like I see you guys are coming through. Like I do a podcast. Like I don't know. Like, and this is in the days of like live podcasting wasn't a huge thing, especially in Philadelphia. And so I was like, I don't know if you guys are looking for like an opener to like kind of make the show like a little bit longer and like a comedy act or like a music set or something like that. And I was like, so like I'd love to do. I think I was pitching Happy Hour at the time.
I believe maybe Philly centric, if you will. Like
Yeah. Like
I try to tie that in.
I very much consider myself a Philadelphia show, even though we're in the greater Philadelphia area. I mean, I help run Philadelphia podcasting events and stuff, so I very much consider myself a Philly show. So like that was the pitch. Like here's a local show, da 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 da. And but here's how I also tie in with Chris Hardwick. I host a show called The Walking Dead Zomcast, to which I immediately, within 24 hours, got a cease and desist order from AMC, to which changed, like the show stopped almost immediately after that. We had to change the name to just the Zomcast, so yeah, Chris Hardwick's the dick.
Even though you were first.
Doing The Walking Dead? No,
No. The name of the podcast was first.
The Walking Dead Zomcast?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't before The Walking Dead.
But it was before his show.
Yeah, but his show was called The Talking Dead. I didn't get a cease and desist because of The Talking Dead. I got a cease and desist because of The Walking Dead.
Oh,
they said,
for
you're
heaven's
using the
sake.
name of The Walking... Mind you, at the time, there was a podcast literally called The Walking Dead Podcast. So I now, again...
So I think he actually has it out for you personally, Mayor of Levittown.
I believe he does.
I believe he does too. Now, my recollection of Chris Hardwick goes further back to MTV when he was him and Jenny McCarthy, right? Or did the Love whatever it was called.
I forget what it was called.
And then he was in one of my favorite movies, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Was he?
Yeah, he was in that movie with Rainn Wilson.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was a Rob Zombie movie. Yeah.
Rainn Wilson was in that?
Yes.
I've watched this movie and I don't remember
All
anyone of note in this movie.
Oh yeah, those two were
Chris
in it.
Chris Hardwick,
he's the one that
not of note. He is the scum beneath my shoe.
He comes out and that's when he's like, Dr. Satan, and like,
I don't. I'm also not like I did watch those Rob Zombie movies.
They're my favorite.
See, I'm not a big like I consider myself a horror fan, and I say this as a person who like in the last 10 years has just watched the original Halloween and has just watched like.
Oh no, those aren't my jam. I like the weirder the better.
Oh, have you watched Tusk then?
No,
have you heard of Tusk?
Yes.
Oh, Tusk is fucked up.
Wow.
Oh my. Well, have you watched Red State?
I stand corrected. Apparently, I have not watched all the weird ones.
Red State's not like an incredibly weird movie.
Okay.
It's a Kevin Smith movie. It starts off as a Kevin Smith movie. You've watched Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah.
It's a talky movie. But then it goes into this horror bit, and it's like a religious horror movie. Michael Parks is in it, who is like, to me, the standout person from that movie.
That sounds interesting.
It is so good. Michael Parks has one of the best monologues I've ever heard. And to me, the best monologue I've ever heard is Ben Affleck in Chasing Amy.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Yes.
If anybody wants to like know the epitome of Kev, that's it.
I have once been called a third-rate Kevin Smith, and I wear that badge with an honor,
as you should.
And I mean, again, anyone listening to this show this show goes on tangents, usually about Kevin Smith, Batman, and MCU. Is usually the tangents we go on.
We've touched on a few of those.
We've said those words. At least once. And so he did. Red State was his first movie he did that was like, it did start off as a Kevin Smith movie with like it being like a bunch of people sitting around talking.
existential life crisis,
crudely, stuff like that. Yeah.
humorous.
So it starts off that way, but it is the first movie he did that kind of goes outside of those USQ movies, and it's not attached to the USQ movies, though.
Movies.
It was there was he thought about tying it into Dogma, but anyway,
that is exactly what I was thinking when you said religious
but
something or whatever.
Nothing like Dogma. It's nothing like Dogma,
which is a great movie.
Dogma is great. This movie is it's great. The biggest thing that this movie is like known for, outside of it being like a Kevin Smith horror movie, is when he went to Sundance with it, like he auctioned it off and then he bought it himself. And this was the Kevin Smith era where like he was against film. I think he retired briefly from film after this. Anyway, so Red State's great. I would consider it weird horror because it's not weird.
It's on my playlist.
It's not weird like the Rob Zombie movies or even as like Tusk, but it's a very good low key horror movie that it's if you're expecting weird like prosthetics and stuff, it's not going to be in there. That's not that type of movie, but it's a good like horror thriller movie.
Messes with your brain a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But Tusk.
Ew.
Tusk was born from a Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier. Do you know who Scott Mosier is?
I don't.
Okay, so you're not a Kevin Smith fan like I am.
Okay.
Scott Mosier.
I don't think anyone is. Let's just say that.
I have met people.
Nobody I know.
Yeah, no. That's the common thread is that most people that like I know, I'm the Kevin Smith guy. But like I know nothing compared to a lot of people out there. But anyway, so Scott Mosier was the producer on all the VSQ movies, Clerks 2, Chasing Amy, all that stuff. And they used to do a podcast, which really was the inspiration for me, like jumping into podcasting. That and Matt and Huggy from Free FM.
Oh.
R.I.P. They're not dead.
No, I was going to say you just
their show
unalived them.
Yeah, their show is dead.
Still alive.
I assume they're alive. Actually, I don't know.
You know what? Good point.
But anyway, so Tusk was birthed from this podcast where they read like a Reddit post about like someone having a room for rent in Canada. But like also like something about like
non-smoking, non-ugly,
something about dressing as a walrus or something like that.
Oh my god!
So they go on like this hour plus long rant about like a movie, and sometime during this podcast, you hear Kevin Smith go from joking to, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this movie," and I think Tusk is what brought him back into doing movies again.
Yeah, and
Tusk. I mean, it is a monster movie, like not monster movie, but like one of those old like prosthetics monster type movies, and it is very much about
like
a dude,
Elephant Man kind of situation almost.
I've never seen that, so
okay.
But like it is very much like what if man becomes walrus?
What if man bear pig?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, essentially, we need to watch Tusk together.
Yes.
Because Tusk is such a good movie, so fucked up.
Well, it's funny because I was actually just explaining our past friendship to somebody and saying like, oh gosh, this was back when like our biggest decision was what movie are we going to watch this weekend for movie night with our friends? Like we're going to play, are we going to watch a movie or are we going to play Rock Band?
Right.
Like how times have changed.
I remember those times we did movie nights, and I brought it. I always did the Evil Dead movies. Were you an Evil Dead fan before that?
I was not.
Are you an Evil Dead fan now?
I am not a fan.
Oh my god! Have you seen the new Evil Dead movie?
I have not.
Evil Dead Rise.
I guess we have more on our list.
Evil. Oh we
gotta bring movie nights back.
If you like House of a Thousand Corpses and like the Rob Zombie shit, like. I mean, again, they are tonally different. I will say they are tonally different.
They're totally different, but kind of the same.
But Evil Dead in general. Now, the first Evil Dead movie, I don't know if you've watched it since movie night.
No, I have not.
15 years ago. That's a movie that's trying to be scary. and it doesn't have the budget. Evil Dead 2 literally is that movie again, except it skips like the entirety of the movie and just kicks in with the Deadites. And it's a little bit more slapstick. And then Army of Darkness is just more of an action comedy horror movie. Fantastic. One of my favorite movies in the entire world. And then since then, there's been a TV show called Ash vs. Evil Dead. Fantastic. But then there's been like movies that are part of the universe, but not. Like they don't star Bruce Campbell.
See, you're going to lose me when you start talking universes and things because...
It's not a shared universe. You can watch Evil Dead Rise without watching anything else. But Evil Dead, and I will say, like Evil Dead 2013, which is like not a reboot, but also kind of part of the universe. And Evil Dead Rise, those two movies live by themselves, can be watched independently.
Michelle is over here in her head. She is dreaming about not having this conversation because we are talking about universes, and I can't.
Why?
I can't.
Harry Potter's a universe.
Okay, well,
Harry Potter and the Fantastic Beasts of shit.
that yeah. So haven't even gotten that far because my daughter still lives in the original universe.
Oh, really?
And wants nothing to do with anything.
Don't go to the other part.
It is her comfort movies, all of them. She will watch them all the time. So I know more about it than I ever cared to.
Yeah, it's funny. This came up because at Odyssey of the Mind that my son does.
That still exists?
That still exists.
Wow.
I know. I didn't know it was a thing until 2 years ago.
Really? I remember it when we were in school.
I know it was a thing when we were in school. I just didn't do it. Like I was a very sheltered boy. Anyway, he
was a sheltered boy.
One of his
Living
teammates
in a Levittown neighborhood.
One of his teammates
Who would
from
have
last
known
year.
he would have become mayor someday?
I know, right? Like it's awesome. One of his teammates from last year, who is still in elementary school, so they can't be on the same team. But she was having a party for her birthday, and the old team was invited. So it was a Harry Potter themed party, and I was saying, oh yeah, like he like knows nothing about it. Like it's not a thing in our house. Like not by choice. Like, I'm not a big Harry Potter guy. Like I am. As much as I love the nerdy stuff and
You're
and
more
fantasy,
of the like
superhero side, because
Yes.
I can't like Lord of the Rings is like a whole lot of walking.
All right, this is Kevin Smith talking right now.
But it's true.
Walking, drops the ring, turns around.
Have you watched Lord of the Rings movies?
I get it.
It's not. He's not lying.
No, he's not. But Harry Potter, I think.
Harry Potter is better than Lord of the Rings. But
I agree.
It's also just,
Although I watched Lord of the Rings before I ever watched Harry Potter, and honestly, Harry Potter, I can see why there's such a fandom. I can see it.
It's just never hit with me because like I don't really enjoy it until the third book or movie, because that's when it gets a little bit more adult and dark. The first two books and movies are very
Don't go down the book or movie road, because that is a whole other conversation for a lot of people. I haven't read the books.
Yeah.
My daughter has read all of them numerous times.
I've read them once, and I read them because I was watching the movies.
I like the movies better. I will say that.
I will watch them if someone says let's watch them, but like I have no desire to watch them.
But this is like my daughter be laying in her room reading a book, reading Harry Potter, which is great. She's reading big books, and I'm laying in bed, and all of a sudden, Mommy, come here. I'm like, I am just getting comfortable. Oh, there is such a good part of this book, and she has to read it to me. So I'm like, well,
we've done this.
It resonates.
So Harry Potter's not a thing in our house. Percy Jackson's the big thing right now, which I'm all for.
Interesting. That's right in the middle.
I'm a Greek mythology person.
I am too.
I took mythology.
For real.
My senior year at Pennsbury.
Same. Go ahead.
Was my easiest year.
Yep.
Because I'm a lazy motherfucker. But I took mythology that year.
I took Greek mythology as well.
Did you take it in 12th grade?
I did.
Yeah.
Because I had all my credits.
So
I got to pick electives.
Yeah. Same here. I ended up not doing I want to say my girlfriend at the time may have been in my class, ?
He got all.
But I did my project with with Mike and Dave, who were in another class, and you probably don't know this because it was again when we didn't really hang out, but we did the story of Orion as like a wrestling thing.
Oh,
and like Fox was involved.
My God,
Jay was involved.
Wait, this is epic.
I have the video.
This is epic.
So I don't have it with me, but
you did Orion as a wrestler.
Yes. Like there was.
Okay, what? Yes.
Why? Because I wanted to be a wrestler.
Right. This makes sense.
But we and all of us were
Actually.
wrestling at the time.
Yeah, you were.
And it's like I play the king.
Of course you
Maropes. Of
do.
course I did. I don't think I chose that. I think. But the star of that show was Orion, and that was Mike. Mike was Orion. Fox was the Scorpion.
That tracks.
Oh, I was also. I forget who this character played. Like, okay, this is so fucking
random.
Onion. It's layers, but I played. I don't know. Do you remember wrestling? You didn't really were there for that. So
I know you did it.
Fox and a person who we're not going to name because he's a piece of shit played these guys called the Power Stallions. And I think Steven Stallion.
I have so many thoughts about that name.
So good. The Power again, maybe cancelable in 2024.
Yeah, because I'm about to say it sounds gay as fuck.
Oh, it was. They were a gay wrestling tag team.
Great.
They were a gay wrestling.
So
but not mocking the queer community.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. I still hesitate when I say the word queer because like we grow up from a time where queer is a negative word.
No, we grew up in a time where we just called things gay all the time.
Right.
And
But
it wasn't to be offensive.
No.
We were just like, that's gay.
Right. But like very specifically the word queer, at least for me when I was growing up, was oh, you can't say that. That's like saying the N-word.
F-A-G.
Well, that was bad too.
Yeah.
That's still bad. That
But I
hasn't changed.
mean,
but
queer didn't come across to me. I don't think I ever used that word, but
it was very much an insult from our childhood. And it
must have been a dude thing.
Maybe, but it was definitely like I have friends that are bi, gay, trans now, and like it's been a reclaimed term, and I still have such a hard time saying it because like I have anyway. But I want to say even it was a joke gimmick, and probably knowing at least one of the people involved with that gimmick, maybe not done like as a positive thing for the queer community, but it was definitely, I don't think it hindered, like it wasn't, looking back on it, like me.
You weren't mocking them.
No. There was definitely a gimmick that I partook in that was way worse that I'm not going to even name. Because again, they weren't mocking or making fun.
Right.
I mean, maybe some of the stuff was a little crude and stuff, but anyway,
Again, it was just the vernacular of the time.
Right. But anyway, so one of the people couldn't play Steven Stallion, who that was his gimmick, because he was doing something else in this mythology video. So that was the only other role I played that role. I can't. And I played so Jay was a Cyclops, and for some reason. We filmed this after going in the pool in underwear. So he's wearing wet underwear, being a Cyclops. And I'm like the child Cyclops?
How did we get here?
I don't know. Mythology. Percy Jackson. It's all Percy Jackson's fault.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so I played a baby Cyclops too.
In wet underwear?
No, I didn't have
I
didn't have wet underwear.
I can't.
Was I wearing it? This was filmed for school. This was filmed for school. Yes. The last time I looked at the time, we were at 25 minutes. We were at 55 minutes. So
we gotta
I try to wrap up.
I
try to wrap up in an hour, but only because people's attention spans in 2024 are short. So I try not to do. We used to do 2-hour podcasts.
We did.
So 55 minutes into this. For those that don't know, I used to do a show called Happy Hour, which is like the second generation of Happy Hour with Steel Tip. And one of the generations of Happy Hour included Michelle on the show, and we just thought it'd be fun to get together and record again. It's a lot different than Happy Hour ever was.
Oh yeah, and
we didn't even do an intro.
No, we didn't.
I'll do an
And-
intro later.
Yeah, and so please excuse the fact that we've been reminiscing here and like
that's all right.
just-
Literally, I relaunched Everything Is Awesome with season 2. The first 6 episodes, 3 of them are with Mike because we just talked forever. One of them is with Jonesy, who we again reminisced, and one of them is with you, and we reminisced. So that's 5 episodes. So, but they were all like throwback episodes to like let's talk about all the shit that I did back in the day.
Yeah, I used to do the Hollywood.
Yes, Hollywood News, which
yeah.
I think turned into That's Entertainment, and that Mike did it, right?
Yeah.
Or did you not? Did you and Mike do it at the same time? Like,
Yeah, sometimes we did,
Yeah.
and I mean, he was probably better radio than I was, but
it's what's funny is like he and I don't know that I've said this on air yet because even though we did 3 episodes in the last couple weeks together, he's a writer. He has all his books and stuff, and he's getting into streaming and stuff. And part of his streaming is like a Talking Tellus podcast that we're working on for like an audio format. He's already doing the video format. And I said this the other day, I think in my intro or outro to episode 1 of season 2, where like I am very proud of that guy because a few months ago when he started streaming, like he had no idea how to like get his plugs out or anything. Like it was very like, all right, let me find this thing and find my plugs and whatnot. And like as I've been podcasting for a long time, since 2007, so I'm pretty good at my plugs, and I'm pretty. I got a face for radio. I got a voice for radio. It works. And so
he's
like
not wrong.
He's seeing him like go from like fumbling around like a few months ago to being able to get his plugs out right away and like in a very broadcasty way was like a very like proud moment as like a pod father. I'm
a pod father.
Yes. Yep. I consider myself. I mean, podcasting started in 2006. That's when the term podcast entered.
So
the
we were
vocabulary.
really
I started
new.
I started in 2007, and I would say you guys jumped on around 2009.
Yeah.
And so like we literally, it's still the Wild Wild West, even though podcasting's been around for almost 20 years.
Oh gosh,
It's-
there's so many new ways to do it
Right.
now.
Well,
and,
I used to be a guy, obviously, that was into talk radio. I still am into talk radio. It's just now sports talk or podcast that I listen to. I don't really listen to music, as previously mentioned, I think off mic.
Yes, it was.
And
something about Journey.
oh, Don't Stop Believing? Yeah, I don't listen to them on or that song on a regular basis, but that is a parody that's somewhere in my archives. And I think we played. So one of the episodes I did in like 2017 was like the 10-year anniversary of podcasting. I sat down with Santoro, who I think you went to school with, so you like kind of
Yeah.
know him. And only because he was one of the few people that was still around that I was talking to that I could like, pull in for a 10-year anniversary show. And we went through a lot of stuff, like from like the original Happy Hour days to the Stabcast days to Happy Hour 2.0 days. Stabcast, which I think this is airing after the 27th, so like I'm hoping that I actually get the rights to that from the internet.
Do you remember our little thing where it was like it's not.com?
Yeah. Well, I had to because Santoro didn't own .com. It just went away, and someone else owned it, so I had to be .net. And it's not. Remember Kutch?
Yeah.
Kutch was great.
Good. There we go.
I probably have that image somewhere on a drive. But yeah, it's podcasting it's still the Wild Wild West, I think, because it's ever changing, and but I love it for the more now because I don't do the shock jock stuff anymore. That's not I was a dick. B, it was bad. And
I agree with A and B.
And C, like it's just more fun to sit around and talk to people and have like a genuine conversation.
And now I agree with C.
So and even that, like you would think that means I listen to a lot of interview podcasts, but I don't. Like going back to the nerd thing, like I'm a big role playing game fan. So like Dungeons and Dragons is the one everyone knows, but like there's
a whole subgenre.
There's a whole genre. So like I
yeah.
listen to a lot of podcasts that are like what they call actual plays. I'm seeing like your boredom happening right now.
Yeah, it's in my eyes.
But it is here's how I'll sell it, because I've always loved it, but I fell in love with it when my uncle was in the hospital still. And a buddy of mine, Jeff Stormer, turned me on to the
Bike
show.
Week Uncle?
Huh?
Bike
Yes,
Day
Bike Week Uncle, yeah.
Or whatever.
He was in the hospital, and at this point, like, we knew it was done. Like, we knew that it was just a matter of time. So like my time was spent going to UPenn and like just sitting with him at night, so there was someone there and like whatever. But like to like not think about those times, a buddy of mine, Jeff Stormer, turned me on to Campaign Podcast, which is now a whole different. It's Campaign Skyjacks, but originally it was a Star Wars actual play podcast of them, like a bunch of comedians from Chicago playing a Star Wars role playing game, and it is one of the funniest things I've ever listened to. You don't even need to be a fan of role playing games to like really love this show. Maybe you have to be a fan of Star Wars a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so.
But it's just a bunch of funny people playing this game that like I hopped in when it was like near the end of its run. So like I literally could go days without thinking about my uncle dying, and so that's really what sold me on actual plays. And I've since found a whole bunch of other ones, and that's like the show I listen to now. Anyway,
I feel that, although I need to say that off mic earlier, I was the one bringing the room down, and now here we go.
Well, no. First of all, I'm not crying. Secondly,
No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
What?
What? Huh?
Secondly, like everyone, again, if you're an avid listener of Everything Is Awesome, even though we took 3 years off, you know, like I talk about my uncle all the time. He showed me Clerks when I was 12. So in 96, he showed me Clerks.
Totally inappropriate, but
yeah,
also
100%.
meaningful core
Right.
memory.
It is. And like, and going back to Star Wars, like when I didn't realize how
Going
much
back, did we leave it?
No, we didn't. But I didn't know how much I loved that universe until, that IP. Can I use that?
Yeah, trigger word allowed.
That intellectual property. Until
That just made me think of something. Sorry.
until Force Awakens came out, because Force Awakens came out in 2015, and it was
Community Property. Do you remember that?
Community Property.
That was a song that I debuted on Hollywood News once. And when you said intellectual property, it made me think of that.
Like a parody, or it was like a
Yeah,
real
it was
song?
a parody. There was a parody band. Oh, gosh. Now
It wasn't one of our parody? Like,
No.
Like, I say our as in like the
Yeah,
podcast
in
thing?
the group. No, but
No, I don't remember this at all. That's Hey, do you remember this offbeat
song that I don't know who sang it, and I don't.
No, I don't.
Follow me for more.
But anyway, that trailer came out when Force Awakens first came out, and like it opens with the Millennium Falcon, and I'm like, I had goosebumps.
Falcon?
And that's Falcon, yeah, Millennium Falcon.
It's not a falcon.
No, it's Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
Fight me.
He's already got his fist up and everything, man.
But like that it opens with the Falcon, and like I had goosebumps. I was like, oh, I love Star Wars. Like I forgot, because now I look back at the prequel movies, like not hating them anymore. But I grew up as an original trilogy kid. Felt like I got burned by George Lucas in the prequel trilogies, and seeing that moment like was such a moment that like, oh my God, like this is my childhood. I love it. And like one of my biggest, I don't like saying the word regret, because I am where I am today, and I'm not mad about it. So
Sure.
So regret's a hard word to use, but I'm upset that I never took the opportunity to go see that movie with my uncle, because we were planning on it, but then he got sick like the January after that movie released, and we just never got a chance to do it. We talked about it. We just never got a chance to see it together. And he's the one that introduced me to Star Wars. Like,
You take that.
yeah, like,
And roll with it.
my distinct memory of the original Star Wars movie is watching it with him, and I don't know if you've ever seen them. I assume you've seen Star Wars.
Yes, I've
but
seen them all.
there's that scene where the Tusken Raider pops up and scares Luke, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Like a jump scare.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not meant to be a jump scare, I don't think, because it's Star Wars.
But it just affected you
that's
that
my
way.
yeah. It's my distinct memory of the first time I watched that. I don't remember nothing else from the first watch of that movie except being scared by the Tusken Raider, and it was with my uncle that I watched that. And it's like he introduced me to Star Wars. He introduced me to Kevin Smith. I would
all these things that are just super relative to your life now, and
dare I say sports is because of him as well. And so like this show and the people that listen to this show, if they are original listeners from 2016, they are probably nauseated by the fact that I talk about my uncle so much, but he comes up a lot because of that. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that topic. Oh, because I don't know why we
because you rant
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100% I do.
That's all there is to it.
100% I
You
do.
have called yourself out on that numerous times in the past.
That's the one
hour
thing when
here.
I try to book guests that aren't friends for Everything Is Awesome, I say, like, listen, we're going to talk about you, but like we're also going to probably talk about Batman, like Batman, Kevin Smith, and Star Wars.
Just know
Just
that
know there will be
these-
tangents.
There will be tangents.
And again, like me and Mike, we had plans. Like one of the things we did once or twice in like the first season of Everything Is Awesome is like end of year recaps. So we brought that back, and we had so many tangents that we had to record at least 5 hours of audio.
Oh my gosh.
The first episode is 2 hours long.
You two are ridiculous.
Well, we are the Jay and Silent Bob of our friend group. That
tracks.
Yeah,
for sure.
And ironically, him being the actor and filmmaker person, it's me the one that does all the talking. He's usually, I mean, shocker. on the talk.
You saw my face right there. Like I was like, you a talker?
Yeah. So
Dare I say it?
I want to say before we wrap up, and I'll probably actually have solid information come the time I record the outro or intro to this. But make sure you keep an eye out for we're hopefully putting on the Philadelphia Performance Arts Festival. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, well, it's gonna be in South Street. I think I haven't booked the venue yet. And also, we're also coming up to Fan Expo soon. This is me getting my plugs out before I forget. Fan Expo. Hopefully, we're gonna be doing a bunch of stuff with Fan Expo as well. So be on the eye for that. Be on the eye. Look out.
Be on the eye. Look out. Look out with your eye. He's Pod Daddy or whatever the heck he said.
Pod Daddy. That sounds dirty. All right. I said Podfather. That's elegant. Anyway.
This was fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Let's do it again.
Yep. Do you have anything? It's weird because I know you don't have anything to plug, but I have to ask. Do you have
I
anything to
know I
plug?
have nothing to plug except that hopefully you'll have me back and we'll come up with something.
Sure.
It'll be fun.
For sure. Thank you once again to Michelle for taking time out of her day to be on the show. It was a great conversation. Really what I realized with season 2 here, at least thus far, this is the Seinfeld of podcasts. It is a show about nothing, but they're my favorite types of shows. Those are the shows that I love listening to, and that I kind of quote unquote grew up on, which is weird to say because I was a full-fledged adult when podcasting started. But like I grew up on, that's again weird to say, Smodcast at the early days was Kevin Smith sitting around talking to Scott Mosier, two best friends sitting around talking. And I gravitated to a lot of shows that were like that, even though that's what a lot of podcasting is just like two buddies or two friends or whatever sitting around chatting. I think in 2024, there's usually some sort of spin to it as well. For example, All My Fantasy Children, which I love and adore, a show by Jeff Stormer and Aaron Catano-Saez. At its core is a show about two friends sitting around and having a conversation, but it's built upon them doing character creation and world building in the world of fantasy. So, but while that's enough to sell me too, like that concept, the heart of that show is Jeff and Aaron. So that's what I really enjoy with podcasting. And that's what really Everything Is Awesome, and I've probably said this numerous times, strives to be, is a show where it's just like two people having a great conversation. And within that conversation is maybe an interview. That doesn't happen all the time because it all depends on my guest, right? Like when it's Mike, it's less of an interview, because it's us, literally two best friends sitting around talking. Sometimes there's an interview when him and I talk because we're talking about a project he or I are working on. But that's what this show strives to be, right? Is a new best friend every week, even if they're just a best friend for that episode. I hope that in the long run, at the end of the day, that they become a new friend of some fashion, whether they're just an acquaintance that, we hit each other up every now and then or whatever. But anyway, again, what a great episode. Really enjoyed this one. Next week, we conclude the conversation with Mike D'Angelo. And a lot of that, I think maybe we touch on a little bit of 2023 stuff, but we kind of look forward to 2024 and talk about the things that are coming out both in the entertainment industry and in our own personal lives that we're looking forward to. So without further ado, I don't know why I'm saying that. I used to have a bunch of stuff that I said at the end of these things, and I need to get back into the swing of that. It's been so long. I know you can find us on the internet at awesomepodcast.com. Of course, you can find us on social media if you're still using it. Instagram is at Awesome Podcast. Facebook and Twitter, if you're using those, is at Real Awesome Pod. The place I'm probably the most active is honestly on TikTok, but I don't have an Everything is Awesome TikTok. I just don't want another social media to manage. So at that Nerdy Kev on the TikTok, that's like my social media of choice right now. And do me a favor to help this show grow and become the best thing it can be. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps get more eyes on this show. We're also on Podchaser. That's another place that you can rate and review us. Aside from it helping us find a new audience, it also just makes me feel really good to see that someone likes this show. So if you don't mind doing that, that'd be great. It's a great way to support the show. And I swear that by the time we get to like the end of season 2, I'll have the end of this like nailed just in time for summer break. This has been Everything is Awesome. I'm your host, Kevin Gallagher, and we'll see you next time right here on Everything is Awesome and awesomepodcast.com.